Hello everyone, welcome back to another weekly update. USD dominance chart. So overnight, we actually had a decent push to the upside, which was very interesting how it just missed my alert right here. And this alert is actually placed at 7.458. Why is this so important? If you guys watched my video yesterday, I spoke about this chart right here, and I actually also posted this chart on technical analysis in the Discord. And basically, what I've done is using my strategy, my equilibrium zone strategy. I was able to identify very important levels that, in my opinion, on the USDT dominance chart are likely going to give us that reaction that we want to see to the upside for the market. However, pay attention. Look at where we have actually stopped, because this is very interesting. How we were so close, yet we didn't hit it. And look at the name of this alert. It's literally check if Bitcoin is at 74K, start longing. Now we did it 74. Yes, we have, but in my opinion, not enough of it. I think, which is the reason why I actually wanted to upload this weekly update a little bit later for my time. I wanted to see how we may have potentially reacted to the overall situation with the traditional markets. I wanted to see if by the open of the New York time, if we would have gotten a continuation lower. And so far, at least on the weekly time frame, doesn't really look like that is going to be the case. At least for the open. On the hourly, we may potentially have been wiping these lows right here, and we may have potentially done so in preparation for another move to the upside. So that is definitely a possibility. But what I'm trying to get to here is price, as you guys will see in a second here. If I flip over to Bitcoin, let me actually go on the daily for this. This should be the right chart. There we go. Price, got so close, right, on both the USDT dominance chart and my area that, if you guys remember, I spoke about ever since April of 2025, where I said that I personally, even here, I'm pretty sure that I've missed this exact bottom because I wanted to see a return back to the high that we made in March of 2024. I said that I wanted to see, a retest of the previous high to confirm this area as a support. And you can see that we not only missed that high over here of March of 2024, but we've also missed the April low. So this low right here has not yet been wiped. And this low right here is so important because it represents the low of this range. So when I see things like this, right, I I tend to believe that the market is not done yet. I feel like this is a trap, and this trap may, in the short term, actually potentially continue. Now, to which extent, I don't know. And no, I'm not necessarily thinking 86K before 74, 73. I don't think that. But what I do think is that there is the possibility, unless I see a deviation, which at this moment I am not seeing, but I think that there may be potentially a pushback up to around 80,000.5 to retest this area as a potential resistance before flushing back down into that 70. I will actually give you guys the exact levels right here: 73.7 and 74.4. You guys can see that the market so viciously got so close to it, and yet it was so far, right? I mean, look at that. So, when I say things like this, it's that type of thing, right, that I always mention to you guys in premium when I see this type of behavior, which is that the first thing that I think about is it's no different than when you have a trade, which we do, right? We have these two shorts that are printing, right? They got so close to that take profit, but what the market wants to do is first stop out, right? The people that may have moved the stop loss too close, or that they may be closing right now because they no longer feel like the price may actually get down in this region before it actually does it. It's that type of feeling that I'm getting, and pretty much the same exact price behavior of those type of situations. So this is me telling you that I personally believe that we are close to a potential bottom, but we haven't done it just yet. Okay, we're just close. Okay, to a potential bottom because we may, yes, bottom between 74.4 to 73.7, but there's also a chance, right, of going a little bit lower. And I've been openly, right, saying that I feel like, if this trade gets stopped out, right, that you should be longing that stop loss, which is the reason why, technically speaking, you could also, increase the stop loss if you want. I just don't think that the risk to reward ratio makes it that much better. But um, I mean, at the end of the day, if you add more to the downside, it doesn't really matter because if you do it correctly, the entry price will be dragged down lower. So I want to be a buyer, guys. As soon as we step into this region, I have to buy my altcoins because it is not a guarantee that we will see anything lower than 73 and 74. There is that possibility of seeing 67 and 65 or so, but it's not a given. It is no longer a given because the USD dominance chart will be stepping into a very uh, um likely area for a reaction to take place and a reversal to take place. If you guys want to see my portfolio, my coins, how much I've invested in each coin and my entry prices, and you want to get all of my trades and exit signals, then check out the link down below. You can subscribe to our premium group. This is going to be the best deal that you can get right now. The prices will go up very soon. We want to lock in as many people as possible before the old season starts, because once the old season starts, guys, it will be too late and it will be time to sell, not to buy. So make sure to join Profit Magnets as soon as possible. Get in, secure your spot, and make this your life-changing cycle. Okay. So just be mindful because once I see this getting triggered, I have to finish my buying. I have to. Where is it? I'll actually show you guys. So we are approaching indeed the equilibrium. This one is a little bit higher, which is the reason why you guys can see that this zone is a little bit darker than this one. This is the more conservative equilibrium zone. But as soon as we step into this region, we don't know if it's going to stop here or stop here or somewhere inside of this region. We don't know that. We may even go all the way up to 7.9. But the point is, you no longer know necessarily, at least with my method, if it's going to do it or not. So let's go back to this main chart right here for the USD dominance chart, and I will give you guys my next level of resistance, which will have to be 7.20 based on this trend line channel right here. But I do expect that to break. The upper level will have to be 7.632, and Before you know it, right, you are inside of this area, which we welcome. We want to see that. Okay. So yeah, expect this to potentially happen. We want to see that. Okay. So what is one thing that we may potentially do today? I think that the best way to get this all done and over with would have to be this daily candle closure to happen above this red trend line right here, because by doing so you increase the probability of seeing that extra drive to the upside early this week. Okay. And what do you have here? You also have created another trend line that is missing the third touch. So we know that a reversal will be coming from this exact area, right? Where we have found to be an equilibrium zone that is likely going to reverse us back to the downside on the USD dominance chart, aka more upside in the market. Not only that, but you have another trend line. So what do you call this? Well, we call this trend line channel, right? So you're starting to create resistance on resistance in an area where we know that there's going to be resistance. Okay. So this is why I'm overall extremely bullish in the market. Do not take this for granted, because what I'm seeing right here, guys, the situation, I feel like it will change very quickly. Moving on to the total 3 minus Solana and BNB. So what I see over here is that, and this error right here was triggered on my phone, but I think that it's because of the spread of this chart, that is a chart that I've created myself, because we can see that price never really got to this area. So I still want to see some more downside, okay, on the 223, the altcoins essentially. I want to see that little bit more downside. We don't have to go anything lower than this, okay, than 561.9. We don't have to do that, but if we do, we know where to look, okay. Let me actually align it a little bit better. So point of interest this week, I think that it will have to be right here, 561. Let me remove the magnet for a second. 561. This will be your level of support on the total 3 minus Solana and BNB. It's specific to this chart alone. Total 2, guys, look at this. We've actually bounced from an area that is said to be potential support. Look at that. It's just the wicks that I went through. We welcome that. Okay. So this is early signs, in my opinion, of something great potentially getting ready to be unfolded. Now, do we have to get this extra squeeze to the downside? We will see. I think that if we are able to see that extra squeeze to the downside, that we no longer need that to happen, but we want to see this squeeze to the downside happen now for this to be the case, where I don't have to look at um, this as a potential scenario where we potentially bottom now, we see a push up, and then we actually get a flush down before we actually see a major upside. I personally would prefer, right, to have it a little bit different, where we instead go a little bit lower, and then on the next correction we just make an higher low. So for the sake of maintaining things the way that I feel like it may potentially play out until they're invalidated, I'm gonna keep this projection the way that it is, but understand that I am flexible about it, okay? Because I see a lot of support down here, and I want this area to be hit, okay? I'm not saying that we have a bottom right now. There is a chance, but it's not as convincing, because I have stronger indicators, which in this situation would be the USD dominance chart and Bitcoin, based on what we have at least to this point of the video seen together. So that's why I believe that this is not yet done. Now let's look at the contrarian layout on total, because we are getting a bounce, right? Where I said that we will potentially be bottom. Well, remove potentially. Yeah, I believe that we will bottom inside of this bullish golden pocket. Okay, between 2.68 trillion to 2.24 trillion. So yeah, I think that we may potentially go a little bit lower. I ideally want to see this run right here being retested. But overall, yeah, I think that we're doing great. I think this is early signs, right? That this area right here is where buyers are stepping in. You want to see this, okay? You want to see this. Moving on, total two. You can see we got close to the 200 EMA, but we didn't hit it, right? Another confirmation, in my opinion, that the bottom is not perfectly in. Total three. Now here we have hit the 50% area. We've hit potential area of overall support and continuation for the market, but we did not hit the 200 EMA. I think that that may potentially be important. The orders chart. What do you see? We still have not hit, right? We still have not hit my main area of support, which is this major bullish trendline channel. So I feel like the market is overall telling us that the bottom is not necessarily in right now, but we are very close to it. You can see over here as well on this Bitcoin chart right here that we did not, I repeat, we did not hit the level of support that we have been looking for throughout this entire time. Okay, so I am looking for at least 74.3 all the way down to 73.7 in this particular chart right here, which by the way is the same exact level that I was displaying on this chart right here. Okay, pretty much the same exact level that we did not hit. Solana. So again, I was calling for Solana to go below $100. That has happened. However, I don't necessarily believe that this is the final bottom for Solana. I think that we may see that 78.57. You know, the longer it takes, the lower this target goes. It's, in my opinion, minimum 78.57, but you know, even from tomorrow, the price is slightly lower than that. Let me actually refine it as much as possible. As today is a little bit higher than that, it's 78.80. From tomorrow, it's going to be 78.77. But overall, $78 or so, 79 if you want to be super conservative. That's kind of what I will be looking for right here. So let's move on. Let's move to this total one chart on our main layout. What do you see? Right? Do you understand why I personally don't believe that the bottom is in? Because all these different charts that I have that I use, right, to understand if different visions and different ways that I was looking at the market at different times during the cycle all coincide, and you know, all these levels, right? Because they're all telling me that they have not been hit and that it's likely for the market to go lower, what do you feel like I should be doing at this moment? Should I be FOMOing? No, why not? Why would I do that? Right? So I'm gonna be using the last bit of cash position to finalize and make my buys as strong as possible, my positions as strong as possible before this major alt season that I believe we're about to see very soon. Once I get all this stuff right here getting triggered, I think that that will be the smartest way of playing this. Your resistance, you know, is going to be above $3 trillion. So what does that tell us? That once the bottom is in, we should be getting a swift move to the upside, in my opinion, because there's not that much left until at least 2.89. From there onwards, we may consider a little bit or a very small pullback, but from there onwards, we are added to resistances. And once these resistances become support, then guys, you know, I think that there's clear skies up ahead. I generally believe so. So very optimistic right now. Total two. Overall, bouncing from an area of support. You guys remember I was calling for this stuff way ahead of time, and right now we are here. All as always, right? I said, if we lose that, I mean, yeah, sure, there are some better trend lines for sure, but we do have a lot over here that can potentially give us that support that we need. And it's also close or has been hit. Total 3, same story. It's at a level where we may potentially see a bounce based on this particular layout. The orders chart, the orders chart, in my opinion, on this particular layout is kind of telling us that we need to see that X move to the downside, which, in my opinion, does make sense because on my contrarian layout, what do you see? This orders chart right here is also calling for another correction to the downside from tomorrow. That's 168 to as low as 117 billion dollars. That is, of course. Okay, so I think that it's also clear, at least based on the way that I read the market, that we should be seeing a slight correction to the downside to finalize the bottom. The trend lines that I want to see retested have been retested, so I feel like it's pretty safe to remove that annotation there. Remember, the trend that was calling uh, for the market top has created the market top for now, at least on Bitcoin, that is, right? So I think that this is a very good sign of capital getting ready to be deployed on the altcoins. A simple money rotation on this order chart right here. I already said what I think that should be happening. We can see that we have got a pretty decent recovery already from 74.5 all the way back up today to 78.2. That's kind of what we have hit so far, I think. Yeah, 78.9, sorry. Or was it? Hold on, let me check. I apologize. 78.3. But I think that we will see that 80.5 approximately, give or take, at least up to this area. You could also deploy a fib from here, and you should be seeing some interesting levels. Right, yeah, right back, right above it. That's would be 82.4. I mean, yeah, it's a possibility. We may even go a little bit higher than that for sure. But I am not subscribing to the idea that the bottom is in. Okay, that's kind of the more important thing. There are smaller fibs which align perfectly with this level right here of 80.5. You can see that this has a bearish golden pocket. So it really depends on how you want to draw this Fibonacci's. But yeah, I see a lot of conferences over here, great levels down that do align with my thesis. So yeah, I feel confident when I see things like this about where I feel like the market may be headed, and I'm very optimistic for the future. Bitcoin dominance. We wanted this, guys, to have a slow move to the upside because the target that I'm calling for is really not that far off. So it doesn't have to have some major speed. That's why you're seeing altcoins holding up pretty decently, I must say, right? It's mostly Bitcoin that has been suffering and Ethereum, which we will be covering together because it's pretty much hit that area that I was talking about a while ago. So Ethereum, right? Both of our shorts are printing a lot. But here, what was I calling for? I said minimum 2,500. All the way down to potentially 1,731. But I'm more fixated on the bottom, potentially being $2,000.79. Okay, I think that this is more than enough. We have a bullish breaker that has not been retested. So I feel pretty confident on potentially seeing a bottom between 2070 and 1873. Okay, I think that this will be more than enough for a bottom. But we could potentially squeeze a little bit lower to that 1700. But yeah, overall, I think that we're pretty much very close to it. And then I want to be flipping long and close the shorts. So That's kind of what we're doing at this moment in time. Total 3 minus Solana, BNB, XRP, USDT, and USDC. What is that telling you? That is telling you that we have still a little bit lower to go. Okay. Ideally, I still want to see $210 billion getting hit, but we also have a trend line right here, which you guys can see is missing the third touch. So what would we expect, right? Based on the way that we trade, well, we would expect to see the third touch to happen on this trend line, and we would expect to see a slight push to the downside in terms of a bear trap in this case, potentially when taking out this low right here. I think it will be super beneficial. Instant move back up. That would be what we need to change the trend. Potentially we then move up to this trend right here, find some resistance, pull back down, and before you know it, we are back up. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm thinking should be happening. You can see that pretty much the projection that I made a long time ago. I think that I've done this openly on YouTube as well. Pretty sure that I have. I think that it's a video called Hidden Crypto Charts. It's a series that I've done, so you guys can go and check that out as well if you want to see how this chart has aged, and now I have created it from zero. So yeah, you can definitely go and do that if you want. So you can see how my projection pretty much has been playing out until this moment. Okay. Your level of resistance, of course, will have to be 287 right now. I don't think that we're going to see it right now, but I'm just gonna update you guys with the levels. 289. More conservative will have to be 285, but yeah. So more downside in the short term, but it's not gonna be that much. I think that that will be the most important thing to understand at this moment and time.